most challenging thing of actually bringing the cable to the continent. And the challenge was, let's build it ourselves. And they took the mandate to actually build it themselves. So we had all these CCOM landing way back in 2009, 2010. And I remember BBC journalists looking left, right, and center for people to interview, just asking, what are we going to do with the fiber optic cable landing, faster internet, what kind of applications would we be developing? And it's actually thanks to the now Ambassador Professor Demo that we have affordable internet in this country.
For sure. It's one of the most affordable internet across Africa.
Together with a group. I mean, it was a group effort.
Yeah. And that's where now collaboration actually comes into play. Yes. Because also some telcos took that serious and they did the last mile really well. They're still doing it, but they did it really well. Like Safaricom, you can't ignore the fact that they have done the last mile up to the villages.
Yes.
All the towns actually already are covered, but right now they are penetrating in different small places.
I'm kind of half and half on that, Michael. You know why?
Yeah.
I just feel like the data companies and the telcos should collaborate with each other, because every time you drive along a street, there's Safaricom digging.
There's someone digging
a trench.
On one side.
There's fiber digging a trench, and you're like, "Come on, guys! This was just like 5 days ago. It's been actually layered nicely, and then again another 5 days later,
someone else. Digging. Yeah.
So I think the last mile, we need more collaboration.
But there's this even conversation that is going on about KPLC, because they are all over the country, utilizing that grid to distribute their fiber.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think it's just like how the telco story, right? It's how the then Celtel, as Zain that point in time, now Airtel, invested in actually setting up base stations, and then Safaricom piggybacking, or actually like Telcom.
Actually, most of the people piggyback
on Telcom infrastructure. So KPLC has the right infrastructure to actually like deploy fiber and internet. Thing is, it's a strategy. Can it be done well? Can the execution be done well? Because remember, we're dealing with engineers here. And there's a difference between engineers and actual digital strategists who can actually deploy that kind of solution. So I really hope they have the right people to deploy. Execution is key.
For sure. Because even this actually reminds me that when Huawei came into play, which works closely with Safaricom, they had to train people on how to install, how to lay out these cables, things to do with safety, etc. So training becomes really, really important in everything that we do. And not only training, but training in implementation. There's training in theory, and there's training in doing.
I want to actually build on that point.
Yes.
There's training the young engineers, but there's also training the engineers, and then not the professionals shouldn't train and go back and then come back again. They need to train them to become the trainers of the trainers, so that knowledge is imparted locally. Yeah. So if we have to send our talent to China and other,
are we still doing that?
I'm not sure, but I think it needs to be done. Don't you think so? Because we keep on importing and exporting expats at a very high cost.
Yes.
While we actually have talent that can actually gain that knowledge. So I'm very pro for that talent actually upskilling their knowledge to the level where we don't need to actually fly in expats to train, but we can use our local engineers to train the upcoming engineers.
I mean, to be honest with you, this is always a selfish point of doing business that most companies adopt.
Correct.
And you can't blame them. And I think it's a good point that you brought up, because as a country, I think as policymakers, I'm not a policymaker, but I'm sure maybe at some point some of the policymakers will listen to this, is that we need to have policies where we invest sustainably, such that, like what you have said, we have a pipeline of trainers such that we don't need to import expert. But another catch is...
Let's not go very far, Michael.
Yes.
Konza.
Yeah.
Konza Technopolis. These solutions can be implemented there. It was a brainchild of Dr. Demo.
Yes.
And it's a great brainchild.
Yeah.
This kind of solutions that we are mentioning can actually be implemented in those kind of ICT parks.
Yes. I hear there was a big university that was supposed to set up camp there. And that's why, by the way, to be honest, in my life, I've tried to avoid things that actually are political and controversial, because I don't know most of the details. But when I read the Vision 2030,
yes,
because I've gone through it through school and personally.
Vision 2030 is like 8 years away. You know that? It's not that
exactly long. And the way it outlines how Konza City is supposed to look, by now we should be getting returns from that.
Yes.
But whatever is happening on the ground is different.
Of course.
The reason,
theory versus...
I have no idea.
Practical is very different.
And I hear every year there is a budget that goes towards the project.
Yeah.
So
let's host Dr. Ndemo for that, or Professor Ndemo.
Maybe he has more details.
He has more details on that. Or Honorable Joe Musheru.
Or Joe Musheru. Yes, for sure. Yeah, I agree. And my point about skill building comes into play at Higher, because I would say I'm a great beneficiary of that. Because Professor Wagasha.
PWW.
Yes, Professor PWW.
Professor Waigasha Waiganjo.
Waiganjo, yeah.
Peter Waigasha Waiganjo.
Yes. Okay. Now it's more even confusing. But Professor Waiganjo he said he came in class. He was teaching us, is it electronics or something to do with electronics?
Digital electronics?
Digital electronics.
You see how I remember?
Yeah, you do.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but I know it was about electronics, you know. So he mentioned that, hey, there's this Jessica, they have co-founded HIAB and MLab, which was University of Nairobi was a consortium of MLab.
Correct.
And do you know what he said? He just said passingly, like, you guys can check it out. It's along Gong Road. Go and check it out. A lot of stuff is happening. And it's one of our alumni who is, building the stuff. But when I came there, maybe when you didn't notice, I just came, maybe we were like 2-3 months old. I was, I think, in
there were many people coming to the
second semester of first year. So I just walked in there. But one thing that was fascinating, every event that was there, because the first time I visited there, I looked lost, but I saw guys working on laptops, and it was really great. So that was an encouragement, number one. Number two, the second time I came there was an event, a very good event, and there was good food.
Of course.
Very good food.
People interact with the gift of bringing people together is food and entertainment.
Yes, because you guys had set up a nice aerial entertainment place on top there.
That was more like my office. It was the loft.
Yeah. But the stairs didn't look really great.
That was for me only. That was a jazz design.
Yeah, so
it was a ladder.
Yeah, the ladder was that.
It was specifically.
If you're not good, you could fall.
No, it was specifically for people, to discourage people coming up and down. So if you're up, coming down is really
tough.
Tricky.
Yeah, unless
I would still design something similar.
Yeah.
But maybe with a different ladder. Come on, man. We've got older.
Yeah.
Sweet 16.
So I come in there. Of course, I was a bachelor then, and the life of a bachelor.
You're no longer a bachelor?
That is a story for another day.
Okay.
And as a bachelor in Nairobi, one of the things that you try to ensure is save a lot, especially on food, because food is not that affordable.
Yeah. People came for the food.
So it encouraged me to come to this event. But there's one pertinent question I asked myself over time. Like, this is a space of, and you guys used to bring some legit guys. I remember there was a time some YouTube developers came in. There was a time some Google executive came in.
We brought
Fireside Chat.
We brought Marissa Mayer. We brought Eric Schmid.
Yeah.
We brought Larry Wall, the founder of Pearl. We brought Sir Windsurf. I mean, the names are endless, right?
Yes,
Brian
yes.
Chesky from Airbnb.
Yes.
And the list goes on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what really informed that?
Bringing the type of people that we brought in?
Yes, and hosting the kind of events that you guys hosted.
So it's interesting that you ask this, Michael, because like the first 9 months of starting the iHub was very experimental and was at ideation and discovery and product market fit.
Yes.
So in the first 9 months, we had over 100 events.
Yes.
And this was intentionally. I still have a list of the events that were done in those first 9 months.
Yeah.
And it was everything from different stakeholders in the ecosystem, from donor organizations like the World Bank, InfoDev, VCs, corporates like Google and Microsoft, to developer communities at that point in time, creatives, like the spectrum of all different stakeholders.
Yes.
And the reason why we actually had those events was to actually analyze what were the right kind of events to hold in the next year plus for our community, because we were still understanding the first 100 community members versus the events we were having. So when we admitted the first 100 members, and we call them green members, we actually categorize them as creatives, devs, and other. So we wanted to know, okay, do we have hackathons? Do we have workshops on human-centered design? Do we have VC events?
Thought leadership.
Yeah, exactly. So doing that for the first 9 months, my goal together when we brought Tosh on as the community manager was really to identify what the right events were to curate for this community. And I think in the second year, it was becoming more inevitable that it was just not a place to meet and share and bring people together. We had to engage people through events, food, entertainment, and I think having events where we brought like people who in business and tech is what kind of got the project ideas coming out. And then when we actually, like the MLab started, and when we actually had Pivot East as a platform, it
started at Pivot 25.
Pivot East, So we called it Pivot East. And Pivot 25 was the top 25 finalists in each category, the 5 categories that we had. And that was like a similar concept to like what we have at Techstars. So that was born from that inspiration. And it's actually that platform that kind of pushed these ideas, the mobile ideas, into that funnel, right? So we started looking at ideas, and I remember like the MLab advisory board, we would look at hundreds. I was looking at hundreds of applications, and you could see the rawness in the applications, from the business model to like how they actually express the model, the technology, and it was raw. And now, 10 plus years later, I mean, you see very different things, but
things have shaped up.
You still see rawness, but you see at least like you see some level of
some quite of progress.
And when we actually like picked the finalists to pitch for Pivot East, this is what brought like the bigger community together, VCs from all over the continent and globally, and local entrepreneurs. And I think that was the setting stone of the start of Silicon Savannah.
For sure.
And a lot of people don't know this, but Silicon Savannah was actually coined by a Time journalist, at the first Pivot East in 2011. He coined it Silicon Savannah. Yeah.
And this is interesting because for me, I came in and I started running our dev-focused events. And I remember some of our initial events were even funded by IAB, right? And there's this analogy that we knew this actually is going to change the dynamics, and it actually changed the dynamic and the progress of tech ecosystem in the country and actually in the continent. There's no one who can start an innovation hub without like referencing to IAB and the way it was built and people who built it and what it has achieved. And there's so many achievements in that, right?
Yes. I think building a brand is something really... building a brand is tough, Michael.
Yeah.
So brand building is something that I learned from Eric Hersman. He's a really good brand builder.
Yeah.
And to date, when I talk to different people, they're like, you're known in the EU, you're known in the US. And I'm like, yeah, we actually spent a lot of time building the IHub brand globally and locally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it went down to branding.
The biggest asset that iHub has right now is the brand.
Yes.
And the biggest asset it had a couple of years ago was the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the challenge of scaling iHub?
Man, a lot of challenges. One is actually growing too fast.
Yeah.
I believe in the first 5 years we grew too fast and we could not cope with that, that growth because we had like iHub research going, and iHub Research was an initiative I started that contributed to like 70% of the sustainability, but we still had to figure out what is the 30%. So iHub UX Lab started, the consultant started, and the cluster started. So like managing all these different components going together, and then the advisory board put a version of iHub 2.0 together. And this was like more of the iHub commercialized in the sense that co-working, using the developers to actually work on consulting projects. Yeah. Unfortunately, iHub 2.0 rolled out much too late because Nairobi Garage came into the picture, rolled out co-working much earlier. Andela was already in the picture, actually training developers and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think moving faster, like, you know, we were the first trendsetters in 2010 to set up the first tech hub.
Yes.
We needed to actually have followed on with that by being the trendsetters to set up opportunities for developers, co-working and things like that.
Yeah.
So the challenges of like growth caught up with us. Yeah. The idea of what to commercialize first as well also caught up with us. Yeah. And then you find you're stuck. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So I think the advice I would give there is look at the low-hanging fruits and execute really quickly. And if you fail really fast and move. And move on. Yeah, but do not grow too fast because that has its challenges.
Yeah. So was funding one of the challenges in ensuring that at least you could pivot or maybe rebrand and come back again strong?
Yeah, because we were like 5+ years in the game, and we really wanted to move away from donor funding. We were actually we were thriving on the projects that the different departments had. Yeah. So we really didn't want to actually have sustainability funding from like development organizations. Yeah. But I think it is what it is. Like right now, if you look a lot around the ecosystem, tech hubs do rely on donor funding and corporate funding. Yeah. And it is the parable. Yeah. But Michael, I think that tech hubs can be sustainable without that kind of funding. You just have to be creative enough to find viable business models that can sustain. I think co-working is one aspect. I think consulting is one aspect. But you need to know how much of that you need to do in order to just break even and make profits. Yeah.
So then is for a proper business model on those avenues And
I think
also
it's not
even
been
have
cracked
teams
to date.
and have teams also actually build that as you are building this other arm of
correct
of the business, which is community and sharing skills and bringing tangible guests, imparting skill and sharing knowledge. And given Hiab, most of the tech communities, they call Hiab home until today.
Yes.
Why didn't you find, of course, you utilized it, but not fully, right? Was there not a model to utilize this? Because I know one, you utilized the developers there to join the consulting, which they did, and right now they are doing really well in the ecosystem. But I will not say utilized fully, because if you did, that would actually maybe come in handy when you are building these other arms.
Yeah, I think what you need to be cognizant about is that I have went through a couple of changes in 2015. After I exited.
When did you exit?
I exited in 2015, at the end of September 2015. And then I formed another startup in November called Brave, which is still in HR tech. But the iHub was in... a VC invested in the iHub just to keep it sustainable and see whether the co-work can actually work at that point in time. And after like 2 or 3 years, it was acquired by CC Hub. So I don't think so it was given that chance to actually like really roll out the iHub 2.0 to see that it actually works. So that's what happened.
Yeah, because there is also a challenge when a VC puts in the money.
Yes.
It comes with the rules and guidelines of how things should run, and there is also timeline in that. If that doesn't work, sometime someone wants to exit and make profit out of it. So there's that challenge. But again, because if someone wants to build maybe another innovation ecosystem or innovation space, they can learn from these lessons. And one of the lessons is like, are you saying when you're building initial, maybe in the first 5 months, you should be able to configure, I'm building this module whereby I'm doing consulting, I'm doing research as a business.
Yeah.
And I'm also offering co-working, and I'm also offering a community which is now free. So these other 3 arms can sustain this.
Again, we come back to rolling too many initiatives out, right? You need to roll one after the other to see what works, or have teams that really understand those business models and roll them out. Now, the thing is, the teams that we have were not experienced in actually those business models. So those are some of the challenges we did have. And because we were all learning. And with learning comes failure.
And mistakes.
And we learn from that failure and we move on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think to date, I think CC Hub couldn't have been the best partner to actually acquire the iHub, because Bosun has been running communities like this for the last 10 years plus.
Yes.
So
he's the right guy.
He is the right person to actually
and he's doing
execute.
Well. He's doing well. So switching gear a little bit, now you go back to entrepreneurship where you thrive, right?
Yeah.
And you co-found Brave, and I understand also it's the same time that Corona happened in that period.
Not really. I co-founded Brave in November 2015.
Brave has been here for that long.
Brave has been in existence for the last 7 years.
So what was the idea around Brave?
Brave was mainly to unleash the best in people. That was the ethos of the 3 co-founders, Danielle, Ibanga, and myself.
Yeah. It's still there until today.
Brave is still going on.
What do you do, guys?
More on global markets. So when we started in 2015, late 2015, the first 12 to 18 months was very exploratory for Ibanga and I. We were initially 2 co-founders. We spoke to over 300 people across the continent and globally to actually identify what the challenges in the ecosystem were.
Tech ecosystem.
Yes, the tech ecosystem, to actually build like anything in talent or HR related. And the gaps that we found were companies were coming out, but they were not the right skill sets existing in the community. So we started out partly as a venture builder. And we did that for like 3 to 6 months, but the investors coming into the space wanted us as the co-founders to be like part of the founding team, and that's not sustainable. And there were not very many venture builders 6 years ago. Probably would be the first in East Africa.
What is venture building?
So a venture builder is what we call like a startup studio. You have the resources of developers, designers, tech and product teams, data scientists, data engineers around you to actually help a company build.
That is in the same roof.
Yes. Not in the same roof. They can be globally distributed. But you have those resources to help you as founders to build that
So
entity.
if I want to build a company, I can just outsource to you and you build the whole...
Yeah, but we don't do that. So that was our initial pivot. And we actually formed a data career accelerator where we were actually teaching young developers to become data scientists and then place them in different organizations. So we did that for 3 months. And finally, when we did a workshop, we had like 100 plus people come into our first workshop. And the interesting data point was we had hiring managers come into that workshop, CTOs per se, looking for data scientists and developers. So we were like, this is not even a data science problem. It's actually a recruiting problem, recruiting of tech and product. So we decided to go into recruitment and build a matchmaking product for tech and product teams. And this was 2016, where Brave really got to become known as the powerhouse in the continent for tech and product recruitment. And my co-founder and I brought on Danielle, who is like a data whiz in data science and natural language processing. Yeah, she's like studied at LSE and she's based in London. And I mean, we actually built a solid platform, but we learned a lot of, we launched prematurely, right? Because we're so excited. So we shelved the recruiting product eventually, and we just started doing like exact search recruitment, and we'd use that product internally for search. So the algorithms that we built, it was our own internal dashboard. We found a unique way to actually look for tech and product talent by the questions, both behavioral and cognitive, in the way we'd ask them. And this was from our data science, natural language processing co-founder Danielle, right? We did a lot of research on like behavioral economics, cognitive science. Talk about like the top-notch scientists who are in psychology. So we really studied the research behind how talent is uncovered and what kind of questions we need to ask. So this is 2016. So we actually became like a recruiting firm. And we did this for close to, I would say, from 3 years. So anything in tech and product for recruiting, Brave was the go-to place. So the challenges that we found in running an HR tech company is we were not providing payroll services. You're providing a platform like a jobs board, very similar to like the Levers and the Greenhouses and all these other applicant tracking systems that exist. So hiring managers would ask, okay, I've invested a $10,000 license, $25,000 license in these platforms. What edge is your product going to give me? Now, when you're asked that question, it's a very challenging question. You either give them faster search, hire a candidate in 5 days, but you're competing with these global tech houses. So we decided that's one of the reasons why we decided to shelve that product, because it will be too much of an effort in terms of the SaaS sales. And those SaaS products or B2B sales takes a long time, takes 6 to 9 months plus to actually convert. So we came across a couple of hiring managers for like corporate companies, and what we realized was a lot of these CHROs, chief human resource officers and chief learning officers, were more interested in how the internal workforces are actually performing in terms of productivity and performance. Like heads of talent and HR are normally like on head count.
Yes.
And talent development, right?
Yes.
So either your headcount goes down or it goes up, and there's a budget to actually hire in terms of talent acquisition. So we're like, you need to go the extra mile and really understand the soft and hard skills of your internal workforce.
Yes.
To actually like be able to extrapolate whether you actually need to hire. So we actually did a couple of interviews with ex HR executives, and we found that the kind of questions that came up were, what does my workforce look like in terms of a skill set 2 years down the line if I have XY projects?
Yes.
And this is mainly digital projects.
Yes.
When I say digital, anything to do with tech and product.
Yeah.
So we pivoted in end of 2019, 2020. This is when Corona came into play.
Yes.
Into building a workforce simulator for internal workforces. So it's a tool that enables you to plan and grow your team internally in terms of the skill sets you need for certain projects, in terms of career growth path for specific teams, in terms of reallocation of specific talent to specific departments based on the current projects that you have. And we've been building that in stealth mode for the last 2 years.
Wow.
It's currently gone into beta testing with about 5 clients globally. And we're in a fundraising process right now. And that's where we are.
Nice.
So I have actually transitioned out of Brave on a full-time basis. This is about less than a year ago. I'm still active on the board and still keep up to date on what the product is doing and help a bit with the fundraising and customer acquisition. But my heart is in the continent, and I still want to focus on helping tech startups to actually find the right team, the right talent strategy, and just untapping more opportunities across the continent.
But Jessica, you know, everyone is looking for tech talent, and now the big boys are in town. Right? Google is here, Microsoft is here, and I hear so many more coming, right? AWS
has been here for a year plus. They're in stealth mode.
MasterCard.
MasterCard has always been here. They've got talent.
But mostly they were not so focused on tech.
No, they're there. They're there, Michael. So, I can tell you from being African talent acquisition specialist, I can tell you they have been looking.
Yeah, they've been looking. And then there is remote work.
Yes.
Right? And I think TopTall, Turing, even Andela is still doing the remote work stuff. Are you also venturing in that side of offering?
Remote work?
Connecting tech talent in Africa with remote work across the world?
Not really.
Why not?
It's not something that I've actually taken deep interest in. I just feel there are so many ads and opportunities out there that are available on social media that these opportunities can be tapped into by developers and product people themselves. So I don't think so you even need to.
So there's no need for you to venture into
exactly. There's a lot of ads on LinkedIn. There's a lot of ads on Google. There's a lot of ads on Facebook. Even you go to your Instagram, somebody will, I think it's TopTall, they'll tell you you're a non-fungible token, and they'll say you're a non-fungible talent. I'm just like, oh gosh. All right, they have this ad whereby, why work for one Fortune 500 company when you can work for a number? So they're there.
Doesn't make sense. Yeah. So, let's talk a little bit about the opportunities that you've had to speak out there. I know you're a TED fellow.
Yes.
What does that mean? when you're a TED Fellow?
A TED Fellow is somebody uniquely recognized for their work. And TED stands for Technology, Entertainment, and Design. I became a TED Fellow in 2009 because of my application, Wireless Smart Service. It was the first mobile app on smartphone devices, on J2ME phones in 2007 and 8. And then also training developers at that point in time on mobile phones. So there are about, I think, 300 to 400 TED Fellows across the globe.
In planet Earth?
Yes. And these are fellows that are uniquely recognized for their work in the ecosystem that they do work with. I must say sometimes I am humbled even to be a TED Fellow, because some of the TED Fellows that have come out in the last decade are just game changers. You're like with a Nobel, you're like with a Nobel Prize winner who is like in nuclear physics, and you're like, okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But anyway, sometimes what we do might look minute, but across the world, it's really big. Even what you have done with HiHub itself, the impact itself, you may not see it right now because you're here. You're like, I still have more to do, but it's really huge. So it's an honor.
But I think, Michael, what's important is the ecosystem players like yourself who have come into the community to actually kind of enunciate and bring the impact of what we have done in the past is important, because you are taking the baton now and showcasing what the outcomes are of building a platform like the iHub and the community.
Yeah.
So we kind of, like, when I say we, it's not myself.
I know. Yeah.
It's a specific part of the community that were pioneers at that point in time.
Yeah.
It's not up to us to take it to the next level. We count on people like you that have been through the iHub and the ecosystem to take it to the next level. So I think even having a channel like this podcast to see what the outcomes have been and reaching the younger generations out there is important.
Take stock.
It's important because there was talk about 5 years from now, probably even the iHub or its history would be lost.
Yes.
We should not lose that history.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to document it.
Yes. Yeah. I cannot agree more. And you are also called to speak to some Harvard.
Yes.
Were they graduates or just students?
They were undergrad students interested in the African region.
Okay.
Yes.
What did you speak about? Was it recorded somewhere? Because I've not.
No, this was an invite only, and normally it's not recorded because it's for a specific class at Harvard University. So I met my friend Dr. Nkatha Kabira, who's she goes to Don Bosco Church. So she knew a professor who was teaching this class, and he invited me twice to talk about entrepreneurship and technology in Africa. Yeah. So I talked about the iHub the first time, and the second time I spoke about like the opportunities that exist in different categories like ag tech and healthcare, and they were actually interested at that point in time, like in different opportunities that existed in this ecosystem.
Yeah, and by the way, also that has contributed some of the companies setting camp here, because without you going and speaking there, maybe some of the guys will not innovate thinking about Africa.
Correct.
And you see right now it has reached a point where any serious tech company which is ignoring Africa is like saying, I want to ignore 1 billion people, or maybe 2. I don't know how many there will be in the next maybe couple of decades in what I'm offering. And that's very dangerous, because if you look at Africa is an emerging market. And what this means that there is more business opportunities for that. So congratulations for that, and representing back in the day. You know, this is not something that just happened the other day.
No.
It's a couple of years. And even people raising huge amount of funds culminates from that process of sharing our story, saying, look, there's this that is happening. It might look raw right now, but it's coming along really good. And Top 40 under 40, why did they recognize you for that?
Top 40 under 40 is thrice, right?
Yes, 3 times.
Yeah, at that point in time, the first one, can I even remember the dates? But I think the first one was, 2009 or 10. That was recognized mainly because of my work in management consultancy at Strathmore and also training the developers.
Yeah.
And then in 2011, 2012 was the actually setting up the iHerb and also setting up iHerb Research.
Yeah.
So it was different initiatives that I started. Now I think you have to realize how you get to top 40 under 40.
Yeah.
It's actually you're nominated by the community and voted by the community.
It's not something that you plan to be part of. Ah,
you're
nice.
actually voted by the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I see. And this is also, it's not a small feat, right? Because if it's top 40 under 40 and you're like, okay, even Kenya, is it a Kenyan thing or?
It's like, it's run by Business Daily.
Yeah. So it's Kenyan based.
It's Kenyan based, and the Business Daily is run by I can't remember the editor's name, but I remember asking him about the readership. The readership is like by C-level business executives in the country, and. I need to tell you this story,
Please.
Michael. This is interesting. When I was doing management consulting, and this is 2007, my supervisor, Edwin Nyanducha from like XPWC, Deloitte, used to encourage me to read the Business Daily. And I was like, oh, this top 40 under 40 is interesting. You're seeing faces like Isis Nyong'o, and you're like, I actually want to meet these people, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then 2 years later, 3 years later, you're top 40 under 40. And I'm like, okay, some things are actually achievable.
Yeah,
Yeah. At you're a young university graduate and you're like, okay, I would love to be on this list.
Yeah.
And when I was actually nominated in 2009, I was like blown away. I'm like, okay, what's going on here?
Were you starstruck by those people?
No, it was not starstruck, but really about the work they did.
You were inspired by them.
Yeah, because some of them I was actually meeting at these meetings. With when management consulting, you meet interesting people, right?
Yeah.
Because you're doing different deals.
Yeah.
And when I was meeting Isis, I was like, hey, you're on top 40 under 40. This is amazing. Like, your work in entertainment. And I think she was at MTV that time. And then we kept that relationship. So Isis invited her to talk at the iHerb and as well about her journey in entertainment and business as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it was 2007. Yeah, 2-3 years later, you're on that list. And I'm like, how did I get on this list? And I was told, hey, you actually nominated and voted for. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So when you get it the first time, you become really, really excited. When it happens the second time, you're like, cool. When it happens the third time, you're like, cool.
Yeah.
It just
in a row.
Yeah, you're just like, okay. I think now other people need to get this.
2009, 2011, and 2012.
Yeah, I'm just like some other people need to get that.
Yeah. So, Jessica, you're an artist.
Yes.
And so is so many computer scientists.
Yeah. A lot of
Why
them
so?
play music.
Okay, let me be ignorant and ask that. Why so?
Why so?
Yes.
I just think, I look.
Have you ever sat down and you're like, I see things in a different way?
I think people need a let out. And a let out is either your hobbies. If it's exercising, if it's exercising, sports, if it's playing different games like chess or Scrabble or anything else, or if it's singing, if it's playing the guitar. And some people keep it at that. It's just hey, this is my let out. Let me go do CrossFit. This is my hour or two of my own time. And you leave it at that. You become yoga. But for me, music was always more than a passion. It was a purpose in my life.
You wanted to sing.
Not really sing, play the guitar, play the bass guitar.
Yeah.
With all the passion.
Yeah.
like the bass guitar was an instrument I can't describe.
Yes.
It's such a powerful instrument.
Yes.
It almost masks a character, a personality or a character of me.
Yes.
Yes.
Why?
Why?
Yes. Why bass? There are so many instruments.
Why bass guitar?
Why bass guitar?
Okay. So the first time I came across the bass guitar was, look, I started out with classical, right?
Yeah.
And I taught myself to play contemporary guitar like after university, and I joined the youth group at Don Bosco.
Yes.
And the parish priest, Father Tony, really was like my mentor at that point in time and was teaching me how to play rhythm.
Yes.
And he brought out this other guitar. It was like a 5-string Pevy, had a Pevy amp, and I was like, whoa, this is a different guitar. I've not seen this guitar before. He's like, yeah, get your hands on it, take it out and see what you feel. And you just the sound, I don't know how to
Jessica, and I'm one of the unluckiest few. I've not seen you play. And I think I need to see
a live show is coming soon.
I've seen a couple of small clips here and there. I've seen pictures of you playing, even with band.
Yeah, I've been in several bands.
So I'm like, it must be fascinating because I know most of the computer scientists or engineers who really play instrument or sing, they do it differently.
Yes.
And this actually culminates to like the journey that we are in right now as Jessica, right?
Correct.
There's a technology and there's the industry of entertainment. And you can't mention technology the way it is right now without understanding how much technology has played the part in ensuring that if you're an artist, you get what is due for you. Because also artistic work is really hard. And I have so much respect for artists. Think about Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. Before you just printed a lot of albums, which was really costly, distribute them, which was also costly. By the time you are getting any tangible return, you are 10 years into the game. And you have worked so hard. So you enjoy another 5 years and you retire because it's too much. But right now you can just create content, revise it, and even there's digital technology to do that. So the learning curve is not that steep. But again, if you're really good, then the sky is the limit. And now here comes Jessica, and she says, "Look, I'm the winner of both the worlds, if I may say that loosely." And she has an EP, and she's selling it through NFT. Please tell us how did you? Is it during Corona? Most people came up with so many innovative solutions around a lot of things. Even people reinvented their lives.
Corona didn't make me change or do anything different, Michael. Right?
Yes.
Because I was always grounded in my principle.
Yes.
Of what I want to do.
Yes.
Be nimble. Be happy in what you do.
Yeah.
Be innovative, learn and unlearn.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was really like getting to spend time at home and working remotely, and my guitars surrounded me. And
how many guitars do you have?
Probably around 10.
Say what?
Yes.
All of them bass guitar or just different?
No, different.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yes. So and like being at home with my mom, we would actually like sing. And I did undergo depression in 2015, and I was telling my mom, I think I want to actually write a song about this. And she was like, yeah, go ahead. So I started putting down some lyrics, and songwriting is really hard. Yeah,
I know.
And during the Corona period, because everything was so digital, my friend Karen from church connected me with a music producer, and his name is called Levi Tambi. And we did 1 or 2 sessions on how to do songwriting. And then I think this was like December 2019.
Yeah.
And December 2019.
Yeah.
And I kept it on pause for a while. And in 2020, 20, like I wrote some of the songs and I tried to kind of put a beat to it. Then I remembered, oh yeah, Karen introduced me to Levy. And I was like, the dynamic of going through songwriting is not my cup of tea. I was like, Levy, hey, let's partner and co-author this first single, Momentum.
Yeah.
Before that, I was in a rock band and we were actually going to bring the song out, Momentum, but I don't think so it was meant to be for that point in time.
Yeah.
And the first demo came out about last year, 2021, around June, July. My mom got to hear it and she's like, it's amazing song and she can't wait for the full single to come out.
Yeah.
And then so I was just advancing my during the Corona period. I was really focused on actually work, Brave, and then in my spare time learning an advanced bass with Ricky Namarafiki. If you know him, he's very very well known. He brought like the likes of Victor Wooten online. I mean, these are people you just don't meet every day.
Serious stuff.
Yes, yes. So Mom passed away last year in July 2021.
Oh, sorry.
And I got inspired to actually write 5 other songs in her honor and dedication. And then Levy made this possible. We met at like Java, and I was just telling him what I wanted the themes for the 5 songs to be, and we'd spend a couple of hours online. And 2 of the songs are out, and 3 songs are still in production and mixing.
Yeah.
They should be out end of this month, early September. That's the EP. But I released Momentum in honor of my mom, and really I just was experimenting with NFT.
Yeah.
Because I had taken a deep interest in blockchain like in 2013 and 14. I mined a bit of Bitcoin. I lost the wallet. I have no idea what happened. I'm one of those. So everyone's talking about NFT. So I was like, you know what? A colleague called Ryan, I was like, let's put this single on NFT. And to date, we did a research and the team just found that I was the first female in tech and music to actually release a NFT as music. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. It's a really hard community to break into locally and globally because there's so much happening. But you really need to, I've come from community building, you've come from community building, and you know how this happens is only by talking to the community. You engage until they understand it. So Momentum has been out there for at least a month. We have 30 editions on Rarible, which is an open platform for selling NFTs. And so far 5 copies have been sold. It's quite a hard market. It's sold for 0.02 ETH, which is about roughly $34 to $35, depending on
a single.
Ethereum. Meaning if you buy a copy, it's yours. And you own it, and you can either.
If I'm a DJ, can I be able to download it and play it?
Yeah, it's your copy.
Now, Jessica, now that you've talked about NFT and how hard it is to sell it there, I would like you to take this opportunity to like explain the process of buying. What do you need actually to buy it?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So these platforms like OpenSea and Rarible use what we call ETH. That's cryptocurrency. They use ETH. They use Solana. And they use Tezos and Polygon. Right? ETH is the most stable Ethereum from the Ethereum blockchain. So what one can do is, in order to actually purchase it from the platform Rarible, you actually have to open what we call a wallet. And the wallet that you can use is MetaMask.
So this is an app, or?
MetaMask is an app, and it's also a web.
You can go to some web address and create an account.
And it's highly encrypted. You have like keywords, you have 2 authentication factor. So you have your wallet, and you need to get funds in your wallet. So you use an exchange platform like Binance. Yeah, and you have a lot of like traders who can actually you deposit Kenya shillings and they can convert it to Ethereum for you.
Yeah.
So from Binance you can actually convert you can actually transfer your ETH to MetaMask.
Yeah.
So once you have ETH in your MetaMask wallet, you just connect on Rarible and you can actually purchase the edition.
Ah, nice, nice.
We have a tutorial coming up. You need to actually follow my social media channels. Very simple. It's me, Jessica Colasso.
Ah, nice. All through, like LinkedIn, whatever.
ITSME, Jessica Colasso.
What does ITSME mean?
It's me, Jessica Colasso.
It sounded like an abbreviation of something.
It's difficult, of course, computer scientists to do that.
Yeah, so that's amazing stuff. Now, Jessica, there's something I wanted you to talk about, if that's okay with you. Your mom. You're so close to your mom, right?
Very.
And you mentioned, besides your sister, you mentioned your mom several times. And I attended one of your sessions, I think it's in 2019, if I can remember, where I don't know if it's your mom who introduced you or you introduced your mom, and then it was really emotional kind of stuff. Some school that you can remember.
You watched that?
I was there.
That was the most vulnerable talk I've ever
had. I saw the other part of you.
That was the first time I came out that I actually suffered from depression.
Exactly, yes.
And it was a money
yes,
center.
a money institute event. Yes. Please talk about your mom.
What can I say about my mom? My mom is
that you're comfortable with. I don't want to ask specific questions, but anything.
Yeah, I think. Look, I get very emotional when I talk about my mom, but I think I've become stronger in the last couple of months, and I wouldn't be the person I am today without my mom being the role model and supporting me the way she did. She's somebody who challenged status quo, and she was a very strong person, right? But the most kindest, warmest person you'd ever meet. I'm probably different from her, right? Like she has a really strong personality, but she'd come out like a sunflower, the most warm person, and she'd encourage me to kind of do anything I wanted without judging.
Yes,
and that's what I loved about her. And my mom loved me unconditionally. I could see it.
Yeah.
She supported my business. She's one of the first angel investors in my business. I think even if she didn't invest, the things that she did in kind and things intangible, over this last couple of months, I've got time to reflect of how she did things. Could just show you the mother's love for a child.
Yeah.
And I can reminisce all that. I don't know how to express that, and I'm expressing that through my music.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I mean that's a good thing.
And I think this is the advice I give to the youth and anyone out there. I just think parents, some of them have your welfare in mind.
Yeah.
But also you've got to take time to spend time with your parents. You don't have. You think you have time. I thought I have time with my mom. She had not even reached 70. And we were planning to just travel, the next couple of years, just travel globally because she liked traveling. I just say cherish every single moment you have with your loved ones, whether they're your mom and dad or just your family, anyone you cherish.
Yeah. Just live fully.
Live fully because time is very short. You not realize like the next day they're gone.
Yes. So that's fascinating, and it's really good because since I realized my purpose, I try as much. It's hard because living fully means that utilizing each and every opportunity you have, and not procrastinating a lot.
Yeah.
When do what you can when you can. So Jessica talked about depression. I know you for a strong person.
Yeah.
Since I have known you. I've known you for quite a bit, not personally though, from a fan, a spectator, and following your work here and there. How did that happen, the depression part?
I think we're all human beings at the end of the day. And when you realize that I was a workaholic, right? And I did not realize how it was getting to me. You know, in 2014, my dad passed away, and I bottled that mourning or the grief period. And I didn't realize, like, a year later, it would come to catch up with me, right? And I think we need to realize we're not robots, Michael. We need to give ourselves self-care. It's really important to have self-care and a balance in life, work, and personally, giving yourself the time and space to breathe and live in the moment, right? So I did realize that, and you see, immediately after IHEB, I formed another company, and I was still like in that depression. And when I was diagnosed with it, you need to have a strong support mechanism around you, and that person was my mom. I could not come out of my depression. I was actually on the verge of giving up.
Was it that bad?
I wanted to give up on life.
Come on now.
I'm serious.
Really?
Yes, and that's the story I told at Amani.
Yeah, I heard that and I was like, come on,
that was why
Jessica.
I was so emotional.
Not now.
I'm telling you, Michael, I would not be here.
You said that later. And I was like, no.
I would not be here telling you this story 6 years later if it was not for my mom. I think she had a goal. She was meant to bring me out to live life fully. And now I am meant to embrace her life fully in what I do. Yes.
So what this one thing that she said or did that actually made sense in that situation? Because I know depression is not a joke.
What did she say?
It's really bad,
A simple advice and wisdom my mother would give you. I didn't bring you into this world to see you this way. I brought you into this world for you to be and exist and live your full potential.
Wow, that's powerful. If you sit down and think about those lines, they might sound easy and, inspiring, but it's really powerful.
No, for a person who's going under depression or any other mental issue, sometimes words from people who really matter, and they get to you.
Yes. Okay. Anyone who is going through depression out there, I think the first thing is to reach out.
You have to be aware also that you're undergoing something. Self-denial is one main key thing that happens, and I had to come out of self-denial and undergo that. I was going through depression, and you have to reach out and be willing to get that help. And I was willing to get that help from my mom, my sister, and my co-founders. Like, they really pulled me through that period. And 2016, I found an existence to thrive again, brave, being in the different bands again, music. I had not touched a guitar for a very long time, and I've become really rusty in the bass guitar. I wouldn't say I am at the level I used to be. So it's a learning curve.
Yeah. And I mean, you are back, Jessica, if you like it or not. I can say that, having seen what you're doing in the ecosystem again, and even musically, and also what is happening in the ecosystem and the key role that you're playing as a key stakeholder. So up to this point, I would like to thank you so much. And this is actually not the end of it, if you think about it. We're just taking a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about serendipity and women in tech and where the future lies, among as many other things. Thank you so much for joining us. It's yours truly, Michael Kimathi. Call me MK anytime. Thank you so much. It's Impact Masters Media. See you again.